Have you ever felt the shift? At first, people leaned in when you spoke. They asked for your opinion. They valued your input. There was warmth in their tone, maybe even admiration in the way they looked at you. You felt seen, respected. And then something changed. They started interrupting you mid-sentence. They brushed off your ideas in meetings. They canceled plans without apology. They spoke over you like your voice didn't carry the same weight anymore. And you're left replaying moments in your head, wondering, what did I do wrong? When did this change? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Respect doesn't disappear randomly. It shifts. Not because people suddenly decided to dislike you, not because you're not good enough, but because human psychology is constantly evaluating value, confidence, and boundaries, often without anyone realizing it. Respect isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's not about acting aggressive or intimidating. And it's definitely not about forcing people to fear you. Real respect operates beneath the surface. It's built on subtle signals, how you speak, how you carry yourself, what you tolerate, and what you don't. It's shaped by the energy you project and the standards you enforce. And the moment those signals shift, people respond differently. The good news? If respect is psychological, it's also learnable. You can rebuild it, strengthen it, command it, without changing who you are. In this video, we're breaking down the real reasons people stop respecting you, and the powerful mindset shifts that instantly change how others see you. Once you understand this, everything changes. Let's dive in. Most people believe respect is something other people choose to give you. It's not. Respect is a silent, subconscious calculation happening in real time. Every interaction, every conversation, every room you walk into, people are automatically scanning for two things: competence, self-worth signals. Competence answers the question, can this person handle things? Do they know what they're doing? Self-worth signals answer, does this person value themselves? When you demonstrate both, respect happens naturally. You don't have to demand it. You don't have to chase it. It's automatic. But here's the key. The brain is always updating its assessment. If you hesitate too much, if you downplay your abilities, if you allow subtle disrespect, that internal calculation shifts. Not because people are cruel, not because they woke up wanting to treat you differently, but because their perception changed, and perception drives behavior. Respect isn't built on emotions like liking someone. It's built on observable signals, tone, posture, boundaries, decisiveness, standards. Small behaviors send loud messages. And once you understand that respect is perceived, not gifted, you realize something powerful. You can control the signals. One of the fastest ways to lose respect: over-explaining. It sounds harmless, even polite. But psychologically, it sends the wrong signal. When you justify every decision, when you over-defend a simple boundary, when you give a 5-minute explanation for why you can't attend something, you're not just sharing information, you're signaling uncertainty. Over-explaining often comes from a hidden need. I hope they understand. I hope they approve. I hope they don't get upset. But confident people don't operate from that place. They say, I can't make it, or that doesn't work for me, or simply, no. And then they stop talking. No long story, no emotional defense, no nervous laughter to soften the blow. Here's why this matters. The more you explain, the more it feels like you're trying to convince someone your decision is valid. And when people sense you're seeking validation, Their subconscious lowers your perceived status. Psychologists call this status leakage, when your words unintentionally reduce your authority. The fix is simple but powerful. Say less. Pause longer. Hold eye contact. Let silence create weight. Because confidence doesn't rush to justify itself. It assumes it doesn't have to. People test boundaries. Not always intentionally, not always maliciously, but it's human nature. They show up late without apologizing. They make subtle jokes at your expense. They forget commitments they made to you. The first time it happens, it's information. The second time, it's a test. Here's what most people don't realize. Every time you ignore repeated small violations, you're sending a message. You're teaching people what's acceptable. Respect rarely disappears in one dramatic moment. It erodes quietly, gradually, through small behaviors that go unchecked. When someone interrupts you and you laugh it off. When someone cancels last minute and you say, "No worries," every single time. When someone speaks to you with subtle disrespect and you stay silent to avoid tension. You're unintentionally reinforcing the behavior. The brain works on patterns. If there are no consequences, the behavior continues. Boundaries are not about being aggressive. They're not about creating conflict or dominating others. They're about consistency, calm, clear, direct. "Hey, I'd appreciate if you didn't interrupt me. If plans change last minute, please give me more notice. I'm not okay with that." No raised voice, no long lecture, no emotional reaction, just clarity. When your standards are clear and consistent, people adjust. They may be surprised at first, but they recalibrate. Because respect grows in environments where expectations are known. If you don't define your boundaries, other people will define them for you. And that's where respect begins to fade. Availability directly affects perceived value. And this isn't about playing games. It's not manipulation. It's psychology. Humans are wired to value what feels limited. Scarcity increases importance. When something is constantly available, it subconsciously feels less valuable. The same principle applies to you. If you always reply instantly, if you constantly rearrange your schedule, if you drop your priorities the moment someone calls, you may think you're being kind or dependable. But the hidden message you're sending is this: my time is less important than yours. And people respond to that signal. High-respect individuals aren't cold or distant. They're present, but selective. They protect their time. They have goals, routines, responsibilities. Their schedule is an empty space waiting to be filled by others. They don't rush to prove availability. They respond when they can. They commit when it aligns. They say no when it doesn't. And here's the shift. You don't need to ignore messages or act uninterested. You simply need structure. When your life has priorities, when your time has boundaries, your presence carries more weight, because respect follows structure, and people value what isn't constantly on demand. This one is powerful. A lot of people lose respect not because they're incapable, but because they confuse being nice with being passive. When something bothers you and you stay quiet, when someone crosses a line and you brush it off, when you swallow your opinion to keep the peace, people notice. Silence in moments that require a response doesn't signal kindness. It signals hesitation. And psychologically, hesitation in the face of disrespect can be interpreted as weakness. Now here's the nuance. People might still like you. They may feel comfortable around you. They may even prefer you because you're easygoing. But respect requires backbone. Healthy conflict actually builds respect because it communicates something powerful. I value myself enough to speak up. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need emotional explosions. You don't need to dominate the room. You need calm firmness. There's a clear difference between aggression and assertiveness. Aggression seeks control. Assertiveness communicates standards. And when you can look someone in the eye and say, calmly, "That doesn't work for me," without anger or apology, that's strength. Respect doesn't grow from avoidance. It grows from steady, grounded assertiveness. Before you ever say a word, people are already forming an opinion about you. Your posture, your eye contact, your facial expressions, your tone of voice, even the speed of your movements, all of it speaks loudly. If you avoid eye contact when you talk, if your shoulders slump forward, if your voice fades at the end of sentences, if you fidget, tap, or shift nervously, you may not realize it, but you're broadcasting insecurity. And insecurity, fairly or unfairly, lowers perceived authority. Social psychology research shows that people make dominance and confidence judgments within seconds of seeing someone. Sometimes before that person even finishes their first sentence. That means respect often starts non-verbally. You can say all the right words, but if your body language contradicts them, people believe your body. The good news? This is fixable. Start by slowing down your movements. Quick, jittery motions signal anxiety. Controlled movements signal composure. Hold eye contact 1 or 2 seconds longer than feels natural. Not in a stare down, just steady and grounded. Lower your vocal pitch slightly and avoid letting your sentences trail off. Speak as if you expect to be heard. And most importantly, pause before responding. Silence shows control. It shows you're thinking, not reacting. Stillness is powerful. It creates presence, and presence commands attention. When your body language aligns with confidence, people feel it instantly. And confidence, more than charisma, more than volume, is what earns lasting respect. Here's the deepest truth of all. People mirror how you treat yourself. If you constantly doubt your own worth, if you criticize yourself before anyone else can, if you accept less than you deserve internally, that energy leaks out. You don't have to say it. You don't have to announce it. People feel it. When you tolerate disrespect in your own mind, negative self-talk, low standards, constant comparison, you unconsciously communicate that tolerance outward, and others respond accordingly. Self-respect isn't loud. It's not arrogance. It's not ego. It's internal alignment. It's a quiet decision that says, I don't chase approval. I don't beg for attention. I don't shrink to make others comfortable. It's choosing standards over validation. When you genuinely respect yourself, your posture changes, your tone changes, your decisions change. You stop over-explaining, you stop over-accommodating, you stop accepting behavior that doesn't align with your values. And here's what's powerful. You don't have to force anyone to treat you differently. When your internal standard rises, people recalibrate. They feel the shift every time. Respect isn't about dominance. It's not about overpowering people, raising your voice, or proving you're the most important person in the room. It's about self-alignment. It's about making sure your behavior matches your value. When you stop over-explaining, you signal certainty. When you enforce boundaries, you signal standards. When you limit over-availability, you signal that your time matters. When you speak up calmly, you signal strength. When you strengthen your presence, you signal confidence. When you value yourself internally, you signal worth. These aren't dramatic changes, they're small shifts. But small shifts create big results. Because the moment you change what you tolerate, internally and externally, people feel it. They adjust. They recalibrate how they speak to you, how they treat you, how seriously they take you. You don't have to demand respect. You demonstrate it through consistency. And once that shift happens, everything changes. If this resonated with you, subscribe for more psychology-backed insights on confidence, influence, and human behavior. And remember, respect isn't forced. It isn't begged for. It's demonstrated every single day. I'll see you in the next video.